I had a near-death experience in a hospital in 2013. My daughter was born prematurely when I was 27 weeks along in my pregnancy. It was a gradual process. My pupil had only widened by 2 km. I was admitted and given medicine to either halt or at least reduce the intensity of my contractions. The medicine had an instant and unpleasant effect on my physique. I felt lightheaded and informed the nurse about it, so she had me lie down. With relative composure, she informed me that she would lower my head and feet by tilting my bed back. My brain would get more oxygenated blood if this happened. She yelling for assistance is the next thing that comes to mind. Instantaneously, I found myself staring at my own body. From my vantage point in the room's ceiling to wall corner, I could see everything. Several nurses barged into the room as soon as the alarm went off. As far as I can recall, in a state of panic, they were shouting orders at one another. The blue and green scrubs of the doctors and nurses obscured my view of my own body. After that, darkness had descended upon the entire world. It was clear that I was making progress even though I was out of the hospital room. I presume this was the tunnel. Still, I can't place the moment of emergence. Everything came crashing down to me. The lack of a floor, ceiling, or walls made it more akin to an airplane. The space was entirely unobstructed. I was surrounded by a pale gray tone. Nothing weighed anything. Floating or submerged were the words that best describe how I felt. I could see through the air, which had the consistency of fog or clouds. Presence seemed to be there with me. I have never seen something like what came before me. Therefore, it's hard to put into words. For want of a better word, they were 2 beings. They were nearly entirely black in color. Their bottoms displayed some kind of protrusions, and they had an oval form overall. They weren't legs, and I can't say for sure what they were meant to do. This is the most accurate description I could come up with. My attempt to put into words what they looked like has been an ongoing process spanning years. They come across as menacing or frightening in my account. However, it was not the case. They were really reassuring and helped with comprehension. Their lips never met. Also didn't. No one could hear or understand a word that was spoken. Nonetheless, dialogue took place. Think of it as telepathy or mind reading. Its name eludes me to this day. They alerted me to the fact that I was dying. And what had transpired? They gave me the green light to remain here or go. In any case, they made it clear that I was not allowed to remain. Without this, I am unsure of what I would have done next. That was never disclosed to me. However, they did inform me that the decision was ultimately mine to make. Despite the fact that the final say rested with me, they insisted that I know something crucial. They warned that I would be abandoning a half-finished project if I went on. They insisted that I get back to my physical form because there was more work to be done. They didn't imply that I would be self-centered if I moved on. Just to be sure I wouldn't forget anything unfinished, they made sure I knew. My decision to return is plain to see. But it occurred with such suddenness. It seems like I was returned before I had a chance to fully contemplate staying, or not. Returned to my physical form in the blink of an eye. Looks like you were in preterm labor, and they almost killed you trying to stop it, the doctor joked when I woke up in the room with him. I didn't tell anyone about this for 9 years. I was terrified that people would look down on me or think I was insane. It happened, and I refused to deny it. Also refused to believe that it was all in my head. I have overcome my fear of death, among other benefits, thanks to this experience. I have faith that there is a life after this one. That encounter is on my mind often. My mind keeps going back to what may have transpired had I remained. To what would I have progressed next? How would that have appeared? Being back, nevertheless, has made me quite happy. When I was 36 weeks along, I had a gorgeous daughter. As far as those extraterrestrials informed me, that was a component of the unresolved matter. However, I am aware that there is more unresolved matter. I keep in mind my near-death experience, NDE, and the lesson those beings conveyed whenever thoughts of suicide arise due to my mental illness. I am compelled to remain because of that. Both then and now, I still think they played a role in saving my life. Until my departure, I am certain that they will persist in doing so. This was a holy and heavenly experience. No matter what others think of religion, this spiritual experience has shown me that I am not alone. Imagine them as extraterrestrials, soar like the wind. Somewhere on this planet, there is something that dwarfs humanity. Something else exists in the world. That gives me hope, even though it can be scary to some. Hope beyond what I could ever need in this life. With everything out of the way, let's move on to the second experience. In the production office, it was just another ordinary day. In the middle of the morning, I was at my desk getting ready for our production meeting. As the discussion progressed, I jotted down queries to pose to my supervisors. To my conscious mind, this is the final detail. According to my coworkers, I drew a deep breath and slouched down in my chair. Landed on the floor of the office, experiencing a severe seizure after the chair swung around. My face and nose were bruised from a self-punch. Someone contacted emergency services and notified the family. I was placed with an internal loop recorder after receiving medical attention at the hospital, and further tests confirmed that I have a congenital cardiac ailment termed hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. 5 weeks later, at home, I experienced a cardiac arrest that was virtually identical to this one. Thus, this was a lifesaver. The medical professionals were able to gain a better understanding of what was going on with me because my loop recorder recorded it. Both times, I passed out and was paralyzed for about 2 minutes. The memories of my near-death experiences flooded back to me as my heart froze. In both instances, I was shown a colorful, uplifting, and restorative retrospective of my life through hundreds of photo snapshots. Having experimented with a number of party drugs during my teens, I can say that it was most like the warmth of MDMA, but much more powerful, loving, nurturing, and calming. It was as if God's omniscience and love were evaluating my life's events and sending them back to me at light speed. In all my nearly 40 years on this planet, I can state without a doubt that it was the most peaceful and harmonious experience I have ever had. For the past 3 years, I haven't encountered any problems similar to this. The doctors are still looking at my heart issues. It should be noted that this was likely triggered by genetics rather than the COVID-19 vaccines, which I declined, or my way of life. So concludes today's events. Use the space below to tell me what you think. Take care and may you be showered with blessings until the next video.